Okay, so hi everyone, back again. So welcome to this APTD certification. Welcome to this evening's broadcast of Informa webinars in collaboration with ATD. And thanks for taking the time to learn about the new APTD certification being offered by ATD and ATDCI, which is the Certification Institute. I'm excited to share with you some details about this certification and how you can achieve it. So let me start by introducing myself. Just a minute, please. Sorry, the slides have to go to the next one. Okay, so let me start by introducing myself. I'm Seema Nakrat-Menon, and I am a international speaker, an ATD expert master facilitator, a Marshall Goldsmith stakeholder-centered coach, and senior L&D specialist based in Dubai. I'm a CPLP. I'm certified in CPLP from ATD, and currently the head of CALM Worldwide, which stands for Center for Action and Learning Management. It's a company in UAE for training, coaching, and assessments. So, sorry. So let's now start by talking a little bit or introducing ATD to you. Some of you may already know about ATD. ATD, or Association for Talent Development, and ATDCI, which is the certification institute, is one of the top organizations globally for certifications in talent development. It is 75 years old and highly respected and recognized by organizations worldwide. And now ATD ATD actually has two certifications that they offer. The first one, I think a lot of you may know, is CPLP, which is Certified Professional Learning Performance. And the new certification, which is being offered now by ATD, is called APTD, which is Associate Professional in Talent Development. Now, APTD is the newest certification for talent development professionals who are in the early part of their career. The competencies which are included in this exam are mostly the basics of what talent development professionals use every day, regardless of their level in the organization. So what are we going to speak about today? Sorry for that. Our agenda for today is first talking about APTD. I'll introduce APTD to you, tell you what it's all about. Then let's discuss about the eligibility for APTD. Then the certification process, which actually is just a simple 3-step process for the certification. And then, of course, let's explore the benefits of earning this certification. So who is this certification for? Well, as you can see, the APTD, or also called the Associate Program, is all about fostering growth. It is meant for early career development professionals who may want to formalize and recognize their role with a certification. Or it is also meant for what is called accidental trainers, which basically they are trainers or instructional designers without formal education in training and development. But however, even despite they're not having formal education, they are working perhaps full-time in these areas or most of the time in these areas. So APTD is the first certification from ATDCI that welcomes professionals from other fields who have at least 50% of the time devoted to talent development activities. And this is new for ATDCI. So what are the competencies which are measured in the APTD certification, and what are the weightings for that? Let's explore that. So the competencies that APTD measures are based on what is called the ATD competency model. As you can see on your screen, the APTD competency model has 10 areas of expertise that are measured. However, for the APTD exam, only 3 are measured from this competency model. So the three areas which are measured for the APTD are instruction design, training delivery, and learning technologies. And as you can see, they have different exam weightings. Other than these three, there are also some questions on evaluating learning impact and global mindset, which are included in the exam. Now, these competencies are identified mainly by extensive research done by ATD, as they found that these are the core building blocks for any talent development professional. So what are the eligibility requirements for APTD? Well, there are two options. The first option is 3 years of experience in talent development or other related discipline. Now, what does other related discipline or field mean? So this is, again, as I said, new for ATDCI, as it opens up the ability of people for people outside the traditional talent development field to acknowledge their role as a trainer, or for someone who creates or delivers adult instruction. Option 2 is 2 years of experience in talent development or other related disciplines. And for that 1 year of eligibility which you're short, if you have successfully completed one ATD master's program, either master instructional designer or master trainer, you would get that 1 year of eligibility. That would make it to 3 years. But the rule here is that it's a 50% rule for both options. What that means is that 50% of your on-the-job time should be related to either instructional design, training delivery, or learning technology. So to explain the ATD eligibility a little further, we have what is called the ATD stacking. Now, what that means is if you have done either the ATD Master Trainer or the ATD Master Instruction Designer Certificate Program, you can apply it for 1 year's worth of eligibility to either APTD or CPLP. So that's a great option. And I think the most exciting option now is what is called a test out option, which has been included, which is, well, test out actually means to prove competency in an area in order to be exempt from qualifying sections of an exam. So if you successfully complete ATD Master's Training, ATD Master Instructional Designer Program or ATD Master Trainer Certificate Program, you may test out of those AOEs or sections for the APTD exam. So let's take an example and let me explain that a little further. So if you were if you had taken the Master Trainer Certificate Program from ATD, and you were to take the APTD exam, then you will only be tested in instructional design and learning technologies and not in training delivery. So if you pass in instructional design and learning technologies, you would be APTD certified. Of course, there are always some questions on evaluating learning impact and global mindset, as we discussed earlier. And this is another exciting thing, I think, which is coming up later in 2018, the end of 2018, a stacking test out option for the CPLP knowledge exam, if any of you are interested. So if here you do a master trainer program, either as a master trainer or an instructional designer master training program, you would be exempt for that from that AOE in the knowledge exam of the CPLP. Similarly, if you take the APTD and successfully pass it, then you are exempt from the 3 AOEs that are measured in APTD for your knowledge exam in the CPLP. So this is a great option. So this is what the career development stack looks like now for ATD, where you can start from being a master trainer in any one of the either you can take the master series either as a master trainer or master instruction designer, and you get a test out option and eligibility 1 year's eligibility for the APTD. And if you're APTD certified, you can use that for the test out option for the three AOEs which are tested in APTD for the CPLP knowledge exam. So that's really a stepwise career growth and certifications that one can have. So let's now look at the APTD certification process. How does one earn the APTD certification? Well, it's in easy 3 steps. So the first step is about you deciding if this is the right certification for you, and I'll just explain some things you could consider. The second is about how you could prepare. And the third, once you've decided and you've prepared, is to register and take the exam, and I'll explain how you can do that. So the first thing you need to consider when you're looking at the certification is to decide whether this is the right certification for you. So some questions you could ask are, do you have 3 years of experience or equivalent? You could also ask yourself, is the certification in line with your career goals and aspirations? Maybe do you wish to focus on instructional design or training delivery or learning technologies in your professional life? And the last question you can ask yourself is, are you ready to commit the time, energy, and resources you require? So if it's a yes to these questions and you decide this is for me, then you need to start your prep. So what can you do to prep yourself and prepare yourself? Well, one great go-to resource I would recommend is the APTD Learning System, which is now not only available in English, but also in Arabic and Chinese. And this is a great go-to resource. It has all the knowledge, all the concepts that you need to know. It's got practice exams. And I'm a CPLP, so I used the CPLP learning system for my certification. And I couldn't have done it without it. So it's a great resource. The second is you could take on-demand courses, and the third is you could take in-person courses, which now wonderfully is being delivered in the MENA region from September 2018. And the great thing is that on the 16th and 17th September, we have one in-person course in Dubai. And the brochure is attached at the end of the webinar slides, so you could have a look at the details. The other prep options that you have is you could take practice tests. Now, these practice tests are available on td.org on the website to check your knowledge, to get a feel of the questions, and just to see how you are doing. You can take them as many times as you want. They are free. You could also consider working with groups to study. Some people prefer to study in groups and some do it individually, but if you're a group person, then maybe you could consider joining the APTD Candidate Preparation LinkedIn group. This is a great group which gives you tips and resources for preparation. You can connect with peers and exchange information. Or perhaps if you have ATD chapter groups in your area, that's again a great place. You could exchange information and help in your prep. So let's now quickly look at what is the average time required for you to prepare for the APTD exam and certification. Well, based on candidate estimates of hours spent studying for APTD, which was surveyed in October 2017, they found that the average number of hours people require to prepare for the APTD exam is about 41 to 60 hours. 38% said that. So that's about the average number of hours. If you're an expert in those areas, then maybe less than 40. But this would be the average time you would have to invest. We also took some candidate feedback on preparation, what works in terms of preparing, and couple of tips which came out was one was managing time, especially if you're a working person, you've got your job, you've got so many things going on. Having a realistic study plan, sticking to it is vital. Another thing that you could look at is knowing yourself, understanding how you learn best, evaluating your gaps, knowledge gaps, looking how to close them. Paying attention to the AOEs and how they are weighed on the exam is another thing, because they are all weighed differently. And when I prepared for my CPLP, I really looked at that because that helps you prepare according to the weightage. Then you can network to make it work. You could join study groups, join the LinkedIn group, and so on, exchange information and tips and ideas. And of course, practice, practice, practice is just what you need to do. So the third thing, when you have decided and now you're prepared and you're all ready, is to take the exam, register and take the exam. So there are typically 5 testing windows for the APTD each year. The registration deadlines are approximately 30 days before each testing window begins. And for 2018, because we're towards the end of the year, there is one exam window left, which is in November, from November 8th to the 30th. The registration deadline is October 9th. The 2019 dates, however, will be published on the website td.org in September 2018, and you can have a look if that's what you prefer. So what do you expect from the APTD exam? What is the exam format? Well, it's for 2 hours, the 115 multiple choice questions. It's a computer-based exam in testing centers located worldwide. How do you register for the exam? Well, all you need to do is log on, go on the website of td.org/new-aptd, and there is a form and all instructions and everything you need to know for registration. And where can you take the exam? Well, there are more than 500 testing centers around the world, and you can choose the one which is conveniently located near you. And of course, no certification is complete without recertification, is it? So for APTD, it's 3 years and you need to gather 40 credits for your recertification. For CPLP, it's also 3 years, but you need to gather 60 credits for the recertification. And for the recertification, you generally need to show that you've kept current in the trends in your profession, that you are committed to continuing learning, and so on and so forth. I just finished my recertification on CPLP a couple of months back. If you're in the field and you're doing the job, it's just fine. It's no big deal. So what is the APTD program fees? Well, how much does it cost? It costs $400 for members and $600 for non-members, non-ATD members. The exam fee covers a testing seat for the APTD exam score report, and APTD certificate once you have the certification. The learning system, as I mentioned, is optional. It's not compulsory, but it's a great resource. For me, it was the resource. And it's for $200 for ATD members and $300 for non-ATD members. It includes your 12-month subscription of the digital textbook. It's got quizzes, as I said. It's got information, concepts, case studies, stories. It's got a load of stuff in it. So let's look at the last point, which is what are the benefits of earning the APTD? You would ask, well, why should I consider the APTD? Let's look at some points there. So the first one is to differentiate yourself, because employees, generally rely on professional certifications to make hiring and succession planning decisions. So this is a great certification to have. Validate your knowledge and skills, because like me, I had a lot of experience. You might have a lot of experience and expertise, but when a certifying body, a recognized certifying body, recognizes and endorses it, it makes all the difference. Then also, if you have done or planning to do a master's certificate program, you can use that for your APTD, which is great. And you can use the APTD to achieve your CPLP certification, which is one of the most prestigious certifications in the field. You can expand your professional network by all the colleagues that you will be connecting with, for who are taking the similar exam and studying with you, whether it's a LinkedIn group or anywhere else. So it expands your professional network and you become part of this esteemed professional network. It helps you develop a global mindset, because it prepares you how to be a global professional, especially now when there's professional practice across different cultures and borders. So it's great exposure and test your knowledge on that. And of course, you're committed to lifelong learning. Your recertification ensures that you maintain your learning and you keep up to date with your knowledge in your field. So let me just briefly tell you my story of why I chose CPLP. Maybe it will resonate with you. Well, one of the main reasons is that although I was in the field for 15 years, as I said, I wanted recognition and acknowledgement from a respected and valued certification body like ATD Certification Institute, so that I would be endorsed and recognized by this body for my skills and expertise. Another reason was exposure to areas of expertise that I was not familiar with. I showed you the ATD competency model, the 10 areas which are tested for CPLPs. So as a talent development professional, I wanted exposure in all the other areas and not just training delivery or instructional design. The third reason for me was credibility, which I thought would help me stand out in a competitive job market, and understand the best practices for my profession, which I think I got exposed to and learned during the certification process. It was a great experience. And of course, being a lifelong learner with a recertification, I'm always up to date with what's happening in my field. Last but not least, there is a global appeal to the APTD certification. And the reason for that is, one, the global mindset themes which are on the exam, which you need to take, which expose you as a global professional. There are more than 500 plus test centers worldwide, including China, Middle East, and India. The APTD exam will be available in Chinese from the end of 2018. And as I said, the learning system is available in English, Chinese, and Arabic. So it gives the global appeal to APTD certification. So now I'm going to show you a short video on some APTD certification testimonials, which will help you. So these testimonials are from people who have recently certified in this certification. So please have a look.
ATD launched a new certification in 2017, the Associate Professional in Talent Development, or APTD. The first cohort of candidates tested last year, and 99 professionals received their APTD in December. We asked a few of them to share their thoughts about the experience and what they've noticed since becoming certified professionals.
There was a lot that motivated me to become an APTD. I'm beginning in my career now, so I needed something to really differentiate myself. There's a lot of talented people in the talent development world, so I was looking for the certification just to become more knowledgeable about. Different.
It stopped.
Areas of expertise.
I was really excited by doing something new. I think for years I've worked in the training space and wanted to have something to show for my work. And the CPLP was just a little bit more than I thought that my role encompassed. So it was nice to see a program that really encapsulated the type of work that they do.
I told people that I was going through the certification as a way to further my understanding of the profession and to be able to contribute more to my organization and to really be that knowledge base that others in my department, but also on a wider organizational level can come to for information and advice or just suggestions about trends, history, the field in general. Having a certification is huge. It not only differentiates you from others that are maybe interviewing for the same position, but also it allows you to speak knowledgeably to what you're going to be doing in your role, whether you are base that others in my department, but also on a wider organizational level could come to for information and advice or just suggestions about trends, history, the field in general. Having a certification is huge. It not only differentiates you from others that are maybe interviewing for the same position, but also it allows you to speak knowledgeably to what you're going to be doing in your role, whether you are an instructional designer or a talent development manager or facilitator. So it makes me feel confident making decisions in learning and development.
I think that certification sets you apart, and I think that it's about investing in yourself, and kind of making sure that folks, outside of your department or your job know that you took the time to kind of really invest in the knowledge base that you have and really have something that kind of shows for it.
Well, I think that's the thing. When you come into a role where you don't have classical experience, classical training, and you want to show something that encapsulates what you've done and represents the work you've done, it's a lot harder in that environment because you couldn't really just say, "Oh, I'm a facilitator." Well, no, I'm not really a facilitator. Oh, I'm an e-learning developer. Well, no, I'm not just that. So having a credential shows that I can do a lot of different things in the industry besides just standing up and teaching a class for a day or just standing up and making an e-learning for a day. There's a lot of things that we do. So it's nice to have a way to represent the different elements of your profession.
I mean, the talent development space is it's a lot more complex than some people realize. And I think that, again, APTD is a great stepping stone to kind of get your entree into multiple areas of the TD world or space.
I have definitely noticed since receiving my APTD that I'm taken more seriously in my role. I can confidently make decisions on how I approach developing my training, and it helps to make the learner's experience more meaningful too, because I can really focus on what impact is my training having on the business.
I would say that studying for the APTD was a great process in and of itself. Really going through the materials, the information, understanding more about the profession that I hadn't necessarily recognized, and also really figuring out ways of how I could apply that information to my role, seeing what gaps my organization had or what I can do to incorporate that and really utilize the information.
Okay, so we are at the end of our webinar, but I'd like to tell you that you could check out, for more information on td.org/new-APTD for, the candidate handbook, for some sample tests, links to prep options, and many other resources. If you have any questions about eligibility or anything about the certification, you could also write to APTD certification at td.org. And if you have already decided that this is for you, and that would be so wonderful, you could also consider joining the in-person program, the prep program that we have on the 16th and 17th of September this year in Ibis One Central Mall of Emirates, Dubai. I will be facilitating it, and I look forward to meeting you there. Thank you so much for attending the webinar.